Hi, Preeti. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Preeti is Director Operations at HVAC Systems. Thank you for making time for the call, and hopefully, we'll have a very informative conversation with Preeti.
Thank you, Uday. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So, Preeti and I are going to have a conversation today about air conditioners, specifically for flats and villas. So, to start off, Preeti, could you tell us what are the different types of air conditioners that somebody will have an option of purchasing?
Now, Uday, since we're talking specifically about residential applications,
Correct.
so this could be for your villas or your apartments. Uh, we have many options. So we could start off with simple split air conditioners. Then we have cassette air conditioners. We have ductable units. And something that binds all these things together, which is the latest technology, that's the VRF system.
Could you
So these
explain
are
each
some
of
of
them
the
individually, please? Could you explain each of them so that they can know? Yeah.
So split air conditioners are the basic normal wall-mounted units that we see a lot around us in office spaces or showrooms and things like that. So split air conditioners, like I said, is a wall-mounted unit, and it does not need too much of space as such, and not much of civil work is involved when it comes to split air
So when you
conditioners.
say civil work, it means dealing with bricks, concrete, mortars, cement, etc. Correct?
No, no. By civil, I mean we need a core cutting. So we need a hole
Okay.
that needs to be drilled into the wall for the connection between the indoor and outdoor unit.
Okay. So there are two units.
So
There are two units.
yes,
One is inside and one is outside.
one is outside. Yes.
Okay.
So that's the split air conditioner, and we have different tonnages available in split air conditioners.
So what is
So
a
it
tonnage?
starts off. Tonnage is the capacity of the cooling that the unit can support.
Okay.
So it starts from 1 ton, and at present we have up to 2.8 to 3 tons.
Okay. So
So split
that
air
depends on
conditioner,
the size of the room. An
yes,
individual will choose the tonnage of the air conditioners.
yes.
Okay.
So the other option that we have is cassette air conditioners.
Okay.
So in cassette are something that you see on the ceiling. So you
Correct.
see a grill kind of a thing.
Uh-huh.
So cassette units are recommended if the client is going for false ceiling.
Okay.
So that the housing of the cassette unit is not visible to the naked eye.
Okay.
And in cassette units, we have two different shapes available in the market today. So you have the circular cassette
Okay.
as well as a square cassette.
So it is basically the wall mounted and the cassette is essentially the same technology, but it is the way that it's positioned, it's different.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So when you have a split air conditioner, that's the wall mounted, it is visible.
Correct.
It's visible to us.
Okay.
Whereas if you go to the option of a cassette, it gets camouflaged within your false ceiling itself.
Awesome. Okay.
And a lot of architects and interiors love to play around with the lighting and the patterns of the false ceiling with cassette units.
Okay. So, but even cassette unit comes based on tonnage, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So again, now cassette units will range from 3 to 4.5 tons. So larger capacity.
So preferably for larger rooms.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, if you have a large living area or a party hall or a home theater. So
Okay.
these are the spaces where we go for cassette
Cassette
units.
unit. Okay. So we have split ACs. Now we have cassette units. What's the other one?
Yeah. So another thing that we have is ductable air conditioners.
Okay.
Now, this ductable air conditioners is something where only the grill would be visible to you.
Okay. Okay.
So it's like centralized air conditioning.
Got it. Okay.
To put it in easy understanding terms.
Yes.
So it's centralized air conditioning.
Okay.
So you don't have any hindrances of the units or anything of that sort.
Okay.
So, but here, yes, the amount of work is more.
Okay, so the amount of work is more. So for your cassette and for your split ACs, so split AC is probably the least amount of work. Then you
Yes.
have your cassette which has got a false ceiling.
Yes.
So the cassette is hidden in the false ceiling, but it still has an outdoor unit.
Yes.
Okay. So then you have the ductable one now. The ductable
Yes.
one also has an outdoor unit.
Yes.
But it has more work because you have to have ducts to supply air to the different rooms.
Yes. Now, ductable unit also we have an indoor and outdoor.
Okay. Okay. So can you
So,
explain what that means? Indoor and outdoor ductable units?
so when the ductable unit, so from because these are going to be ducts,
Okay.
the MS structures that kind of pushes the airflow through the different areas inside, right?
Okay.
So where do you get that source from? So that
Mhm.
source for you is from the indoor unit.
Okay.
So from there, we run the ducts across all the areas that you want to be air conditioned.
Okay.
So, and the flow of air and the coolness in the room or the temperature that we want is attained quicker here.
Okay. So you're saying that this is also above a false ceiling, or does it have to have a false ceiling at all?
No, this is above false ceiling.
Okay. But can some people, for the sake of aesthetics, have only the ducts with no false ceiling? It's also
Yes,
possible.
yes.
Right?
A lot
Yeah.
of showrooms opt for that option.
Okay.
So earlier we had just paint, the ducts being painted to suit the interiors or the aesthetics of it.
Okay.
But today we have different types of prints also available.
Okay.
Yeah, so you could go for different colors, you can go for different styles, different prints.
Okay.
We've done these kind of work for a couple of pubs in Bangalore.
Okay.
So they wanted,
Okay.
the different look because they're all visible
Yeah.
outside.
So they don't have false ceilings. They want it to be nice. Maybe you can have branding on it. Maybe it looks neat. Maybe it looks chic. Yeah. Okay. That's good.
It does. It
Okay.
reduces your overall costing also because it's a whole different look by itself.
Okay. So if you were to compare cost, so you have one more though. There's a fourth one that you spoke of.
Yes. The fourth one is so these units that I spoke about.
Yeah.
One thing I think all our clients need to keep in mind is these are individual units.
Okay.
By individual, I mean to say one indoor and one outdoor.
Okay.
All right. So, say in your residence, you have about 5 rooms,
Okay.
and you go for any of these options.
Mhm.
So, you will have 5 indoors and 5 outdoors.
Even for the ductable.
Yeah, as in, like if you have 5 different areas to be covered, I'm just
Yeah.
giving a number.
Got it. Okay.
So, it's more like a 1:1 ratio when it comes to these type of units.
Okay.
Now, one thing that the air conditioning industry understood is, there's a lot of challenges when it comes to positioning the outdoor units.
Okay.
You might not have enough space,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of understood that a lot of work goes in by the architect person, for the aesthetic of the building.
And you don't
Now,
want to have
when
an
you
outdoor
have
unit
5
sticking out there and spoiling the whole.
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
exactly. A lot of them. If you see many of the old buildings, it's like that.
Yeah. So, but also, isn't it a problem when you have a very high-rise building? If it's an old one and you need to retrofit it, then an outdoor
Mhm.
unit becomes difficult for somebody on the 25th floor. Where do they put it, right? If they don't have a balcony, then it may
Yes,
become difficult to attach it. So that is also an issue that people face.
that's true. That's true.
Okay.
So when it comes to the VRF part of it, it's a
VRF.
single VRF. It's variable refrigerant flow
Okay.
units.
Variable refrigerant flow. Okay. Fantastic. Okay.
Flow.
So this is the new technology that you were speaking of.
Yes. This is the latest technology. So what happens here is you have one single outdoor,
Okay.
and you can combine it with any of these options that you want.
Oh, lovely. And this
Yes.
is for residential apartments also. It is not for commercial. This is for residential.
Not specifically for commercials. Like we've done a lot of HNI homes
Okay.
where VRF application is what is chosen.
Okay. So you mentioned HNI homes. So let's talk about cost, right? Can we look at what each of these things cost? Because obviously, if you're saying most HNIs go with VRF, then potentially it is the most expensive. So let us assume a 2 BHK apartment, okay, and maybe a 2,000 square feet, 2 BHK apartment, okay. And could you give us an approximate cost for each of them, each of the 4 different types of air conditionings? Yeah.
Yes. So, like say, 2 BHK, like two split air conditioners, and say you have a living area that you want air conditioned.
Okay.
So, let's say 3 units, to be on the safer side.
Okay.
So, if we go for 3 split units,
Mm-hmm.
so your work is kind of managed within 1.5 to 1.7
lakhs.
Yes, lakhs.
Okay, so about
So
two.
that's including your units, the labor,
Okay.
the copper pipe, everything.
Okay, so you're talking about
I'm giving maximum.
maximum, right?
Yes.
So what would be the tonnage of these ACs that you spoke of for 1.75 lakhs?
About 1.5 tonnage each area.
So
1.5
so 1.5,
ton each area.
1.5. So you're talking also about copper pipes. This is for ducting. Then you talk about if there's civil work, so you talk about drilling a bore, then work, all of that included, 1.75 lakhs for 3.
Yes.
Okay, so that is for your split AC. Let's now talk about cassette.
Now, cassette, see the difference between split and cassettes primarily is the way it cools the area.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Because split is there's a single slot.
Correct.
You have a single grill.
Mm-hmm.
So your the time that it takes to cool an area would be longer compared to a cassette.
Okay.
Because cassette, it's a 4-way flow.
Correct.
So you have air coming out from all the 4 directions, right? So, and it's a little more advanced than your split units.
Okay.
So, the costing for a cassette would be about
3 lakhs. So if it's a larger, living room, let's say maybe a 2,000, 4,000 square foot apartment. So if it's a larger living room, then that would be something that people could look at for getting a cassette. Or if it's a villa, when they have false ceiling. Okay. So then the next one, you talk about ductable, right?
Now, ductable is something that is a little more expensive than the cassette.
Okay.
So that would cost you about 4 to 4.25.
4 to 4.25, but aesthetics wise, it's better. So if you want to look at aesthetics, then somebody would go for ductable. Is there any difference in efficiency or consumption of electricity or any of that, or all of them are the same?
No. There's a huge difference.
Okay.
So we have in these 3 categories, that is split, cassette, and ductable. There are 2 types in each.
Okay.
So it's inverter and non-inverter.
Okay. What is that? Can you explain the difference, please?
Yes. So a non-inverter unit is something that consumes more electricity.
Okay.
All right. And these are kind of designed playing around the numbers, number of the unit, as in the cost of the unit.
Okay.
You would need a separate stabilizer for these units if you go for a non-inverter model.
Are they still selling them today, non-inverter models also, or have they gone down?
Yes. It's gone down drastically.
Okay.
Because the public and we as service providers, we kind of tell them the importance of choosing the right kind of equipment.
Got it.
Because the difference between these two is about 2,000-3,000 per unit.
Okay, so it just makes sense to get one with an inverter. So you've spoken of what a non-inverter is. Could you tell us what an inverter AC is?
So inverter AC, to understand better, is something that has an inbuilt stabilizer.
Okay.
And the power consumption is way, way less.
Okay.
So let's say
way less. Could you give an example in terms of, say, somebody was to use it in a month for a bedroom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say you use for a non-inverter, your electricity is about 100 rupees a month.
Okay.
Okay, just an example.
Okay.
A non-inverter. Whereas when you go for an inverter, you will see the difference of about 20 to 25%.
Okay, so it'll be 75 to
80 rupees.
Okay, so there's quite a big difference, especially if it's in a warm area, hot area, and you're using it for long periods of time. It'll make quite a big difference. Okay,
huge difference.
Huge difference, yeah.
So basically, we recommend our clients to think of it as a long-term investment.
Got it.
And this difference, the ROI, you get it within a year's time.
Okay. So yeah,
Right?
because you're going
But
to
you
save
get
that
the
much money at the
quality
end
you
of the
have.
day. Got it.
Yes.
So we've talked about that. Now let's, and we talked about cassette, and we also talked about ductable. So those are all available. That's fine. Let's go to the king of everything now, VRF. How much does a VRF cost, and why
So
would someone want to go to VRF?
So VRF, you will have a difference of about 15 to 20% from any of these options.
Okay, 15 to 20% cost wise more.
Yes, more.
Okay. Okay. So it will be more than a split by 20%. So 4 lakhs, about 5 lakhs.
Yes.
Okay.
Given that we have those 3 units in mind.
Yeah, given 3. So you're talking about 3 units for 2 bedrooms and 1 living room area. Okay. Okay. Fantastic.
So,
And what about electricity consumption and efficiency and all of that stuff?
so the efficiency rate of any VRF unit, the success rate of it has been remarkably high.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
Right. So, when the failure rate, maybe the compressor or anything of the mechanical components that go into our units, VRF systems are designed in such a way that they surpass the quality of all these other options that we have.
Okay. So it lasts
And
longer. So your ROI is extended.
It lasts for a very long time.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. And even though the cost difference between VRF and the other options is because of the technology that we're investing in.
Okay.
But at the same time, now compared to the inverter model itself, VRF, your electricity would be at least 10% lower than that also.
Oh, wow. Oh, so
Yes.
that means that not only is it more efficient in terms of consumption of electricity, but better in cooling.
Yes.
Also, and it lasts longer.
Yes.
So if you can afford it, go ahead with a VRF system.
See, like if you're going for more than 3-4 units in a villa, right? Okay. It makes much more sense to go in for a VRF system.
VRF system, because it's only a small delta increase in price, but overall it just makes sense. Fantastic. Awesome. Okay, so we've talked about 4 different types of things. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us before we come to a conclusion with this fantastic conversation?
I would just like you to be aware that in split air conditioners, we have 2 different types of coils.
Okay.
We have aluminium and copper coil.
Okay.
Now, a lot of our audience and our clients, they go on Amazon, any of these public platforms or any of these retail outlets, and they just look at the number.
Okay.
So the difference of the costing is because of the type of coil that's been incorporated. Yes.
Okay. So the copper is obviously more expensive than aluminium. So that's why people want to have copper coils. Is copper coils is better conductor? Is that why you're saying? Okay. Okay. And what difference does it make when somebody has an aluminium versus copper?
So aluminium coils tend to fail very quick.
Okay.
And if you want to rectify it, more or less, it so happens that you'll have to replace the entire coil.
Okay. Okay.
Whereas when it comes to the copper coil, a small rectification job and you're good to go.
Good to go. That's great. Oh, one last thing before we close. How often should somebody get their air conditioner serviced? Because we've seen people with air conditioners and you have nest on top of it, you have plants growing, everything, right? So obviously that reduces the efficiency of the AC. So how often do you suggest getting your air conditioner serviced?
Well, Uday, we strictly we kind of enforce this on our clients.
Okay.
In a year.
Okay.
When you're using it, a minimum of 3 times.
A year, 3 times.
Yes.
Okay. So what would they look at when they service an AC?
So again, when it comes to the servicing of the air conditioner, so we have a simple water service.
Okay.
That is, your filters are cleaned, your grills is cleaned. They check the compressor functionality. Okay. If the gas in it has come down, and then you refill it.
Okay. So it's a basic. Right. It's a basic, simple, maybe 1 hour process.
Yes, just 1 hour process it is.
Okay. And how much would that
Now,
normally cost?
now for a split air conditioner, it would cost you about, including gas top up, it would
Mhm.
be around 1800 to 2000.
Okay, so it's worth it because then it'll lengthen the life of your AC over a period of time, right?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, you were saying
So
something.
the
Sorry,
main
I cut you
thing
off.
for us, the main concern for us is how the filters are maintained.
Okay.
You know, irrespective of where you are located.
Mhm.
Like we are located in Indranagar. Someone else would be, say, at a more like electronic city.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
I'm just taking different geographical locations. The,
Okay.
the kind of pollution that's there is very
Mhm.
different.
Okay.
Now, this air conditioning cycle, so the air from outside is filtered and then sent across to you.
Okay.
So the way you handle your filter, the
Uh-huh.
way you maintain your filter,
Okay.
determines the quality of the air that you get in your
Oh,
residential
lovely. So
space.
that's why you're saying that you get it serviced at least three
Service,
times a year.
yes,
Okay. Oh,
yes.
and talking about filters, now that COVID is all around us, would you suggest that people get HEPA filters for their ACs? Is it available? Can they get it done, or what is your suggestion?
HEPA filters is actually a very expensive affair, to be very honest.
Okay.
This is something we use in pharmaceutical applications.
Okay.
I'm not too sure, but I think one of the manufacturers have come out with it.
Okay.
Clients who have really aged parents or elderly people at home or infants at home,
Hmm.
it is always advised to go in for a solution with extra filters,
Extra
not
filters.
necessarily HEPA filters,
Okay.
with extra layers of filters incorporated into the machine.
Very good. Thank you. That's very nice. So you can actually get extra layers of filters in your AC. So that's something that
Yes,
you can.
there are a couple of brands that do offer this, keeping
Okay.
Corona in mind.
Okay.
And people who already have an existing system, just get your air conditioners
Clean.
serviced as frequent as possible.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Preeti. This is a very nice talk, very long and very good. We should probably do it again. Let's see what the customers have to talk about, and then we will answer their questions also. Thanks again,
Sure.
Preeti Ramamurthy.
Thank you so
Very
much
much.
for having me here.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.